the Rangers Journal Night.
Good evening and welcome to your Rangers Journal breakdown for the second leg v Viktoria Plzen. Dylan's smiling away at himself because this is the fourth attempt at it, so glad there's no bloopers reel on the journal. But Dylan, 2-1 win on the night. Job done. I think an awful lot to learn. Is that fair to say?
It was a 2-1. It was a 2-1 loss, but I think
on fire.
It's been a while. I think that obviously the players knew from this is what I'm taking from it. The players knew that sort of the game was won in the first leg at Ibrox. It was 3-0. And I think that in the back of their minds, or maybe the managers told them just not to go out there, get themselves sorted, don't exert too much energy, just go there, keep it tidy, win the game if you can. But I think it was a wee bit poorer than that. We're giving the ball away a wee bit too much for my liking. But listen, there's big weeks coming up, so I'm glad they never had to go and fight for the win almost, if that makes sense.
I think we put ourselves in a very good position after that first leg, which, brilliant. I guess the concern from my perspective, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, but the concern from my perspective is that first leg in Pilsen was, the first leg v Pilsen was good. I think up till that point, there had been an awful lot of carelessness, kind of the ball getting given away as players got used to it. You maybe almost thought we turned a wee bit of a corner when that Pilsen game happened. And then, obviously, since then, we've had two disappointing games v Dundee in this Pilsen second leg. So, lots to do, but let's do what we're here for. Let's dive into it. So, I think to start with, let's pull up. We've pre-illustrated this Pilsen attack, and I'm just going to play that here. So this is us starting it. You can see it's obviously a Pilsen kick out with the Rangers players, I'm going to say pressing, but I use that term loosely. Actually, if you look at the analytics of the match, I think we won one press in that final third. Everything else, they just played around us. So it wasn't a brilliant press, but it is what it is. Dylan, on the screen here, obviously, we're seeing the players pressing quite high. You've got the Pilsen boy that you've highlighted here in what I can only describe as acres of space. Tell me what you would do differently here, mate.
So it's hard to tell you just from this still, but as it progresses, you will see what I think should have probably happened. There's different options, right, that you can do. But personally, we've got 3v3 here as a goalkeeper takes a kick out. All right, I don't know why that man's so high because the ball's not going there. So for me, just drop in. If it goes there, then you can go to where he is originally. So I would pull him back here behind this. Obviously, this it looks like their centre defensive mid who's going to get on the ball and going to make things happen. Again, Danilo and Gassama, I don't mind them going to press this, but if we do, we have to go as a team. So, in the next time we stop it, Dave, I'll explain to you what I would do differently. But again, right now, just from this still, for me, we're far too high and out of place.
I think this was quite common through the game, wasn't it? It's something that I have noticed that we really do seem to try and press the goalkeeper and press the centre backs when they're playing it short. But I'll play it on and I'll pause it at the next point. So as you kick out to the centre back, out to the full back. I'm just going to pause it here because, again, I've described it, acres of space. You've obviously talked about how he's left unmarked. This just highlights it for me.
Yeah, and I think there's one quickly after this, Dave, so we'll stop it as well again. Now, for me here, in fact, play it on to the next one, Dave.
Your wish is my command. So it'll just take a second. And
right. So
okay.
Here,
so we're paused again.
Yeah. So here for me, either now I think it's asking a lot from your striker who's going to press the ball to then come back into this centre defensive mid position. he's probably never going to catch him as the ball progresses up the field unless he's doing like sprints. So for me, Cameron's went wide because Kasama's up one. But again, look at Ant-Man. Now, I'm not blaming the player. I don't know if this is what Martin's trying to do. For me, Ant-Man should be back to sort of where the arrow ends. If Cameron goes in one, then it allows Jeffrey to come up one and our full back line shifts. That's what it should be. If I was in an ideal world, if I was taking him, that's what I would want to happen. Because this guy here is just going to go on the ball, you'll see in a minute, turn and play it out to the other side, and we're carved wide open. And again, the spaces between Diomande, Cameron, that's your two centre mids, your wingers and your striker, they're massive. And it's just not compact at all. The front threes went, the sort of midfield two of half went, and then the back line are just stuck because their strikers and their wingers are pinning them in. So again, if Jeffrey presses up, Cameron comes in, then it looks like they can't get out of that, and they'll probably go back to the centre half, and Danilo goes and presses. But again, Ant-Man's just out of position here. But I think that's the way Martin wants him to play, and this is a big, massive problem. You'll see how in a minute.
Get a second, and we'll move on. Into the centre defensive mid. The pitch is wide open. I get what you're saying. You know, it probably is an instruction that Ant-Man's been given, but it just leaves so much space. And to be fair, if I remember the clip rightly, this boy pings a pretty incredible ball over. So, you know, fair play to him. But even without that we're leaving that side of the pitch basically open.
Yeah. So again, I don't know. Obviously, Danilo's dropped in now. He's dropped back to almost make like an extra midfielder. But like I said, if you take Cameron and bring him in, you take Jeffrey and move him up, then your back line just moves across one, and obviously Ant-Man would have to tuck in. He would have to be down at the halfway line here. So it's a different style that he wants him to press and defend with, but I just think it's not working, and this happens all the time. This is how easy we are to be cut open, and this is only a 30-second clip, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 passes, and they're running at our back line. So again, the boy does play a good ball, but he's under no pressure, and he's to hit a man who's in about a 50-yard box. So it's literally not half a pitch to control the ball and run it on back line because there's nobody there.
So, mate, and that's over 100 shots we've faced now, by the way, in just these first few games. So there's the ball out. That's a good ball, as you said. Not really hard to find him. We're now in a position where we've got a slight overload, where we've got two of the Plzen players pushing forward with just the one, James Tavernier, to try and mark them. So, again, is this where you think maybe if Ant-Man had been further back that he could have dropped into assist Tav here, Dylan?
Yeah. So if Ant-Man, and now listen, Ant-Man works hard, he gets back in. He does, to be fair to him, but that's a lot of running to do. To go from where he started all the way back to here. If he just starts back there, it's half the running. If the ball goes out, then he can go and press, and everybody moves around the other side. But again, I think obviously Tav's in a 2v1 here. Now, I've edited this as well as we go forward. And for me, I think a lot of people will think he does the wrong thing, but for me, he does the right thing, and I'll explain why in a second. Ant-Man does well to get back in, but he should have been on that man who received the ball, or at least challenging so that the ball doesn't he doesn't control it as easily and get forward as easily.
And I think, you know, hindsight's always great. It's easy to sit here and judge afterwards, but the simple fact is you shouldn't have been in a position where there was 2-on-1. And then, you know, you don't have to worry about which decision Tavernier picks. So I'll play this on. So we're pausing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see Tav move inside there, all right? Now, for me, and the ball's always a danger, right? Because the guy out wide can't score now, so the ball's always going to be the danger. That's where the danger is. The reason he's moved inside is because he's now making that player's mind up on the ball, what he's going to do. If Tavernier stayed with the guy in the wing, the boy just dribbles forward in between Tav and Gia, or the striker makes that run, the ball slips through. So Tav's making the boy who's on the ball's mind up for him, and he knows that. So as soon as that pass is played with thing with that pass with dotted line, as soon as that pass is played, he then knows, right, I need to go out and press this. So again, for me, it's just something simple, but it's good defending. But on the flip side of it, he shouldn't be left in that position of 2v1, and he doesn't get quite close to the ball enough to make a difference when the pass is played. And that's where I think that we're lacking as well. We need to stop letting crosses come into our box.
100%. And I think that's one of the things you're always kind of taught, isn't it? Is force them wide if you can, which in essence is what Tav's done here. But he hasn't been able to get back in the game quickly enough, as you say. Not even remotely close enough to blocking that shot. But suddenly we're causing ourselves more problems in the middle of the box. Take us through what we're seeing here, because immediately, you've two players that are getting a fairly good run at the ball as it comes in.
So again, for me, the only player who's in a good position is Suter. Look at his body position. Now that's what I want my defenders to be looking at. I want them to be able to see the ball and see what's sort of going on in front of them. Jeffy's ball watching, the man could just arrive around his blind side and tap it in if the cross is good enough. But the space between our two centre halves here, again, you could drive a bus through it. So if that ball's just the right ball into that area, he's got a free header on goal. Now, it just so happens that he overhits the cross. And again, Tav's not doing enough to go and put him off at least. So listen, it's a massive learning curve that these players are going to have to pick up really, really quickly. Giga should be picking up that striker. Suter's in the all right position, and Jeffy's body position just needs to be a little more open for me, so that he can see that man as well and see the ball. But again, he's too busy watching the ball. The man's behind him. This is 5 or 6 passes, and they're crossing the ball into the, and it's only because we tried to press, it didn't work, and our players didn't get back into their positions. And it's such a simple fix, Dave. Such a simple fix.
No, agreed. And again, that press, I think, has caused us kind of problems throughout this game. I think the other thing that I would just touch on, you mentioned it there about the ball watching. That seems to be a really common theme for this team. We pulled it out v Motherwell, we pulled it out v Dundee, and guess what? We're talking about it here. We're going to be talking about it again in another minute or two, because it's exactly what happens for one of the goals. This is basic stuff, mate, and I'm kind of struggling. I mean, I cannot imagine Martin walks into that dressing room and says, right, watch the ball, and the players about you. So what's going on? Why have these players suddenly forgot how to defend?
I think it's more of a match sharpness thing, Dave, because we've just came back. That's the type of things that players get better at as the games and the weeks go on. They start to switch on mentally. Just now, they're trying to learn a lot of different systems. Now, these are split-second decisions that these guys are making here. Like Giga, it's a split-second decision. The ball's already been played, but he's caught square facing it, where he should just be opening up to it. Now, again, if it was a decent ball, I think their runners got a goal there, or a decent shot at goal. But if as the days and the months and the weeks go on, then hopefully these players start to switch on a wee bit more and not get caught. Like I said, it was a poor cross.
There's your overhit cross, recycling it. And we do eventually manage to clear the ball.
Yeah.
So
that's the first warning. It's now, and that's the first warning we've had about how easy it is to open us up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we didn't take that warning. Let's load up the Plzen first goal. So he says, as he then takes it down again. So I'm just going to put this back to the start.
Yeah.
And we'll play this through. So ball over the right. Acres of space again. So that's the first problem for me. Is again very much like the example that we've just shown where they came down the right. Actually, we're seeing exactly the same on the left. Talk us through that, Dylan.
Yeah, so I think that if the balls and all the players are this condensed on our right hand side of the pitch, you can leave a man open out there, but as long as you can get to him as the ball's travelling, then that's fine. Jeffy misreads the flight of the ball here completely. I think he's gone up to sort of go and win the ball in the air and realises that it's actually a really good switch of play and the man's taking on the touch and he misjudges it. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's not good enough, but it's a mistake that is very, it can happen, I think, pretty easily, just with misjudging the flights of balls. So again, I'm okay with positioning here. I know that guy's in a lot of space, but if the ball was just going straight to him and he was standing still rather than on the run, Jeffy's making it there to make it hard for him so he's not get a touch and running at our back line. But obviously Jeffy misreads the flight of the ball and they end up scoring from it.
Yes, indeed. So there we go.
Yeah.
Now again, we're starting to see these gaps form.
Yeah. Now the gaps here I can understand because Shooter's got his man, Giga's sort of got his man, but now the boy's ahead of Jeffy. This is where Raskin has to switch on, realise there's danger and really burst back in to help this back line out because Shooter has to go to the ball. So he has to go to the ball in this situation. He has to go to the ball. He has to sort of close that angle off because if he doesn't, if he just runs sort of straight with his man, the boy can come in and have a shot. So again, Shooter has to try and come across in some sort of way. And then I would hope Raskin would pick up his man. But again, I don't know if it's because we're so early in the season. Everybody just makes the wrong decision here, and you'll see it in a second.
Indeed. So, as you mentioned, in front of Jeffy, who then falls anyway, not particularly helpful.
Yeah. Here,
defender positioning here, mate. I've said before, I'm not the expert, right? But that is awful. That is amateur stuff.
Yeah. Here, right, as Shooter's closed off the gap, that's fine. He's at the edge of the 6-yard box, so remember that. All right. Right now, his position is fine. The boy's not going to score from here now. If he does, it'll be a really good goal, right? It'll be a really good goal. If he beats Butland, if he can squeeze it into the far post for there, really good goal. Shooter doesn't have to drop any deeper. And all Gia has to do is stay with his man. And as you play this, Shooter drops another 2 or 3 yards. Raskin doesn't come back in time. And the ball's squared to their number 9, I think it is. And for some reason, Gia goes in the field. You'll see this now. So again, look how far away they are from their men. Shooter's dropped another 2 yards here. Ball's cut back. I don't know what Gia's doing here because the ball goes to the highlighted player. It's as if he's going to intercept it, and it's a tap-in.
Yeah.
It's really poor defending.
Yeah, and
all you need to do is stay with your man.
That's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. You know, he's gone to intercept, great, but he's then left his man free for probably a goal of mere you could score at Ibrox or Victoria Plzen. So, it's frustrating, as you say, seeing that kind of catalogue of errors for me. I think that is something that we are really going to have to learn from quickly. I think there's 2 aspects to that. You know, one, okay, domestically, teams will play for those kind of set piece opportunities. So again, we're going to need to sharpen up in that sense. But then there's also, we're going to be playing in a European group competition, whether that's Champions League or the Europa League, still to be decided. That is going to get torn to shreds if we're still playing like that by the time we get to the groups. So, massive worry. I suppose. Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I suppose the only good thing in a way is if it is poor individual decision making, you would hope that, as you say, as they get more match experience and get up to speed, that some of that starts to go away. But yeah, a lot of work to be done. Sorry, Dylan, you were going to say.
see for me there, when Suter is on the 6-yard line and he drops and drops, surely you know that the man's cutting the ball back. But what else is he going to do with it? Why are you trying to block the shot? Like, and that's part of his problem as well, because he's so a siege defender. Just relax in that moment. Let Butland do his job and make sure that cutback isn't available. And if Butland gets beat, then Butland gets beat. But it's not because it's beat with a good goal or a good finish, I should say, rather than you trying to be a hero and block the shot. It gets cut back, you look daft, and then Giga, I don't know what he's trying to do there. So again, it's even no
See,
matter
with
how
Giga, though, I wonder, mate, because he likes a block as well. And is it almost that we've got two kind of very similar siege defenders both playing at the same time?
listen, we'll have a look at the data for his blocks. I know he does like them, but I don't think that they're similar in that sense. I think Giga's a lot more calmer, especially on the ball anyway, and in situations where players are running at him. I think he's more composed than Suter. Suter dives in quite a lot and can get done. But for me, it's a lot of time it's Suter's thinking that gets him into trouble. He thinks he's got a lot of time on the ball to strut about, and then straight away the man's on him, and he gets caught in the ball. And so it's things like that I think with Suter, it's. But there
Reminds me of a certain striker not wanting them to think, yeah?
Exactly. That's bread and butter for a defender there. You're baiting him into squaring that to his player, and you're just getting him out with the ball. That's what I would be thinking, playing centre half there. You know, he can't do anything else with it. He's running at full pelt. I mean, it's a poor goal.
The likelihood is if he shoots from there, it's just clattering off Butland's knees and either out for a corner or back out to the wing somewhere. So,
or it falls to the man that wasn't marking and Giga wasn't marking, they put it in. But if they're marking them, then it doesn't fault it. So
that's it, mate. Right, let's get on to the second, which I'm sure will make us just as annoyed. Let's get that back to the start. So,
yeah. So,
let's start here, mate.
Yeah, what I didn't want to touch on how the cross came in, right? Because it ends up a 3v3. They pass it about. It's not good enough, but I didn't want these to run on for too long. So there's not enough pressure on the ball out there to start with. In the box, we've got more than enough to deal with this cross. So you've got Rothwell, who's goal side his man, which we've highlighted, and that's good. You've got the two players at the edge of the box, who again are in acres of space, but you've got, I think it's Gia and Suter highlighted in the blue. So if they men come in, that's their man. Everybody else is man marked. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's their men. Play the tape.
I was speaking to someone about this the other day, and they sort of turned around to me and says that we play a strict zonal system. I was like, no, we don't. We actually don't play a strict zonal system. It's some weird kind of hybrid of the two, isn't it? Where you've got some folk marking the man and then other folk just marking space. So obviously here we've shifted out a wee bit.
Yeah.
But for me, it's starting to get a bit ragged. You're starting to see like there's nobody goal side now in this boy closest to Butland. What are you seeing here, Dill?
So again, because the pass is played back, obviously we've been told to get out, so we've came out a bit. The line's pretty good. Jeffrey's goal side, Rothwell's man isn't, but you see the guy in the edge of the box has started to make his move. Yeah. So again, we'll see in a second when the cross comes in. That's who Rothwell gets attracted to, but it's Giga's man. So on you go, play it, Dave.
Yeah, that's.
So again, Rothwell's caught, too busy on who's running into the box. But if you just move him back, goal side, that should be, because Gia's in that zonal position. If the ball comes into that area, he's winning that ball, or he should be winning that ball. But Rothwell's he's absolutely lost, and it happened for the Dundee goal. Was it Dundee goal as well? Or what? Or the Was it
think
Donegal? I
so.
think he lost his man as well. He was all over the place for it. And again, Boyd makes a good run in from the edge of the box. Rothwell goes to him, leaves his man wide open at the back post, and they score from it.
Aye. And again, it's quite worrying how easily ghosts into that space and nobody's aware of him. You can see here, your man's acres of space there. This guy, he's not really picked up until last minute.
Rothwell should be moving back in there. Yeah, and Gia should be marking the runner. Again, though, there's a different way that plays out. If that cross doesn't come in, it's laid off to the edge of the box. And then a game of siege defending, we're running to try and block shots. And it's really poor.
You just need that kind of structure. And again, I think that is a bit of a worry for me at the minute because, we've talked about Martin's attacking kind of side of his teams before. What we didn't talk about so much was the defensive side, and it's no pretty reading. Telling you, it's no pretty reading. If we're not massively outscoring people, we could be in quite a bit of trouble because all those teams have conceded numerous chances. Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. We did manage one kind of. Nah, I'm joking. We did a bit more than one, but here's an example of some good attacking play from Rangers when they did kind of click and it went right. So let's just pop this one up. We'll play it from the start. So it starts with Butland.
Yeah. So again, on you go, Dave. Sorry.
No, I was literally going to hand over to you, mate.
So here, obviously, the ball goes out. We're sort of getting ourselves up the pitch. The thing that I like here is Jeffy carries the ball that space rather than just straight passing it. So because it gets another body up the park. If he passes it, there's a high chance that he just sits sort of back in line with Suter and Tav and looks for the ball back. So he carries the ball, gets it the midfield up the park. He's now a midfielder in line with the midfielders here. This pocket of space here again, we want to exploit that. But again here, the pass goes out to Gassama. If Dessers or Dingle drops in there, it can be popped in, we can turn work out the other side. So that's a space that we can go and exploit, and we do go and exploit it later on in this move. But straight away, we're getting ourselves up the park. Gassama's pulled wide, and then we'll play it from there.
So we just play it on. Interestingly, Dessers wasn't actually, his average position was more to the right side than central or to the left. So would probably explain why he wasn't in that pocket. So, okay, take us through this one, Dylan.
So here, the ball, the highest blue player, excuse me, that's Gassama. So he's come in off the line, he's playing in one, which I like, close to the striker. Okay, Jeffy's giving you width. He's the one closest to the touchline. And then you've got Tav, who's the bottom blue player. That's your inverted fullback. All right, so he's then come into the middle of the park. Obviously, beyond times Dio, beyond that's a striker. So he's coming into the middle of the park to make up the numbers so that we can go and play in. Raskin, who the ball's going to, that's your deepest line player, and then it goes out to Suter. So again, Cameron's in there as well. So again, it's not happened, and we start to recycle it. But what happens after this, I think, is really good football. And this is, I think, what Martin's trying to do. Or it must be what Martin's trying to do because it starts to come off here.
Yeah, we hope it's what Martin's trying to do.
So here, Dave, Tav's come out that area because the ball's worked back to Gia. He's come out to offer his services now again at right back. Here, Dio now drops into the area Tav was in, and the ball's played through the two players into Raskin. It's a nice wee pass, but again, this is an example of players being brave on the ball. Watch how many passes that I would call brave passes or dangerous passes in case if we lose the ball, then again, they're attacking. So pops into Raskin, really good. And again, another brave pass. I think Rothwell pops it off to Suter here, and we rotate that way. But again, it's out to Jeffy. Pause it here, Dave. This is a space I was saying the first clip that we're going to exploit. So again, it goes out to Jeffy here, and it's a brave pass again from Raskin. Raskin moves out here to offer an angle, but he also takes the defender away with him. Dio comes into the space, and Cameron goes in beyond. And then the dotted line that you can see, that's the pass. And that's the pass that breaks their press. So we can play it out as really good football. We can play it out. And now, Dave, we've got a 5v5 attacking their goal. And one of the good things is, and this is what we didn't do enough of when we had the counter attacks at the end. Dio's run here is a diagonal run. It's a really good run because it opens up space for other players and it takes defenders where they don't want to go. Just so happens that this attack doesn't amount to nothing, but he makes a run in beyond in that big massive space, and Ant-Man plays him in, and then the shot gets blocked. But play it out. So again, it's a really good chance, really good attack. If Dio can maybe control the ball and turn out and play back, then it'd be very good. Do you want to just play that again, Dave, without me talking, and just every time it pauses, just play it out so the guys can see it from at sort of full pelt?
Okay, so there will be a slight pause as you see the visualizations, but I'll let this run through without actually pausing it. So there's the space that you highlighted that we later utilize. But we've proper shifted them about by then with the passing so that they're not occupying that space.
Again, we just recycle it, and this is what a lot of people say, that Martin is passing for keep the ball's sake, but there's nowhere to go there. Tav comes out it, which allows the space for Dio to come in and the ball to be played to Raskin.
I think that's an interesting point, mate. I don't mind us recycling it if there's nothing on. I think the key is the context of the game. You know, if that's 85 minutes of the game, then yeah, absolutely, fans are going to be raging because it's possession for possession's sake. If you are playing like this, recycling it, finding that moment, and then playing decisive passes, I think a lot more people would be on board with.
Yeah.
And if he had controlled it, as you say, he's on the touchline, but then he's in a prime position to cut back to the penalty spot for me.
Yeah. Ant-Man can also play the pass inside the defender as well. Again, if you rewind it back, it's a dangerous looking pass, but it probably gives Dio in there, in between the two, to the middle of the line. He could play that pass. Again, it's a dangerous pass, but it also gives Dio more time or space to run into, as opposed to getting the ball on the touchline. It would receive the ball at the edge of the box here. But again, it's a short window because that passing lane closes pretty quickly.
Just play on just to show you. That's it closed there already, you know. So yeah, I think that's a fair call out. Just to kind of go over what we were talking about then. So I was saying about passing for passing's sake. Pulled this shot map, so it's player's average position. Thicker the line is, the more that pass route's been utilised. And then obviously you can see on the right here the top combinations. Now, I think that's absolutely telling that every single one of these is a defensive player. Raskin, defensive mid, being predominant through half of them. Then you've got Suter, Butland, Jeff Day, Giga, and it's just that constant passing it about, and that's. I mean, I don't want to be too critical. It is early days, but this is what I mean. If that's your pass map, people are going to get fed up because you're basically just playing a nice wee triangle around your defensive mids to your back line and bringing your keeper in sometimes.
Yeah.
Whereas if they get better at finding that decisive pass, which you can see here we're quite limited, then I think that's a completely different kind of proposition for fans, that they start looking at it as all right, I actually understand why you're putting it back 50 yards there because there's nothing on, but I know in a couple of minutes you're going to go through them again. And at the minute, I don't think we're getting enough of that cutting through them for me. Do you think that'll come, Dylan?
I think that as you bring that up there, that passing map, there's a lack of width in the passes here. It's all very narrow. I'm not saying there's not players out there. That's just a pass map. That's not where players are standing. That's just where the passes are happening. But for me,
average position.
Yeah, for me, you've either got to have, if your fullback's in high and wide, then your wingers have got to play high and wide. If your fullbacks are going to play in, then the eights and the other midfielders have to come out wide to go and play there, so it's not too congested in the middle. And I think that's it, the balance that we're struggling with just now. There's just we've seen Andy Hardy touch on it, and he described it pretty well, and that's mostly what you see. You see our right back or our left back get the ball, and then the two eights, as we call them, go wide. If they go wide, your wingers have to come in. They can't play on the same. It's just so easy to defend against. You can't play in the same line. So there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of work to be done on the training pitch. There's also a lot of work to be done mentality-wise, because again, it's not good enough that they're turning up to Dundee and not running over the top of them for the first half an hour and trying and pay on the goal. That's not good enough.
It's sorry to interrupt, but just to kind of emphasise what you were saying there, that's actually the Plzen pass map. There's a couple of things that stand out to me here. So I think firstly, there's more width, which is what you called out on ours. I think their attacking players are further up the pitch than us for their average position. And I think the last one that really kind of stood out to me here was the amount that they seem to target us down the right, down Dav's side. You can see again the thickness of the lines denotes how common the pass is. You can see there's a wee triangle going on, all squarely aimed at Tav Jigga space. So, do you think that's something that maybe teams can identify and try and play on, the fact that Tav's maybe a bit older?
No, I don't think it was the fact that it's because it was Tav's side. I think if that number 80 plays on the other side, you would have saw it there. That was a star player. Right. That is it Prince Adu. He was they were talking about him, they were bigging him up before the game, and he was going to be a difference maker. So everything went through him almost. And I thought Tav dealt with him pretty well, to be fair. A couple of times he caught out, a couple of times he didn't. I think that when you ask football players, and I've seen that, it was the Panathinaikos game he played. One of their centre halves was American, and he spoke to Carter Vickers about Rangers, and Carter Vickers had said that their best player was Tavernier. So I think a lot of football players really rate Tav. I think they do. I think they find him a difficult opponent. As much as we see it through a fan's eyes, it's completely different. But I don't think they actively target him out. No. Now maybe it was he's a bit older, so he's lost a bit of legs, so you can run at him. Maybe that was the case, but I think it was more the case that was a sort of a star player, mate. Like I said, if he had played on Jeffrey's side, they're probably targeted then. But again, it was a stark difference to the passing lanes that you've seen for our game, our team. Sorry.
Right, well, I think we're nearly there. I've just got one final question for you. Did Doug pay you to give that answer?
No, but he owes me.
No, you sure? Yeah. Make sure you cash in, mate. It's well, I hesitate to say it's been a pleasure because most of it seems quite negative, but it has been a pleasure being back on and actually going through it. I think if we're being honest, right, it all feels doom and gloom at the minute, and it's a bit hard yards. But what we're seeing here, potentially a lot of it is actually quite an easy fix. Just a bit more sharpness, a bit more structure in the defense, and I think you iron out a lot of those problems.
Yeah.
I think on the flip side of that, we've highlighted an example where we have attacked well. We just need to see it happening more often for me now. And we spoke about this pre kind of starting the recording. It's It's one of the key things. I think most fans would accept we are not going to be the finished article by this point. All we need is to see some progress, right? We just need to see it a bit better than the last game, and then the next one a bit better than that, and so on and so forth. And sooner or later, it will all come together. Are you quite kind of comfortable that it will still come together soon, or are you one of these social media fans with a wee red circle and the line through it already?
No, not quite, mate. Listen, I'm just what else is going to happen? This is a guy. Everybody wanted a style of football. You have to get, listen, it's not good enough though. I'm not saying this is good enough, but you have to have time to implement a certain style of football. So it's 6-2-3s. You can't have it both ways for me. You can't have. You need I want a style of football. When we saw that attack there, we cut them wide open. We saw it against them the first half as well. Some of the goals we scored, I see this in the pod last night, were tremendous. And I've not been to a game at Ibrox in a qualifier or in Europe where I felt so comfortable that first leg. We dominated the full game, kept the ball well, scored great goals. I was thinking, we look as if we're going to be a decent team. Then again at Dundee, it was complete opposite. So I don't know if I said it in the pod, if the manager's giving him too much information because he has to click, because he knows that he has to pick up points in the league, and the players are just flooded with information and try to learn everything at one time. I don't know what the situation is. I'm not fully Russell Martin out, but he certainly has to do better than what he's doing, because if the trend keeps trending the way it is, we're going to be 10 points behind at the end of this month or whatever it is. So that can't happen. So again, mate, there's definitely worry in me, but I think he just needs to get his ideas over quickly, and the players really need to buck up their ideas as well.
Whatever happens, we will be here to tear it apart on the breakdown. For now, thanks for joining, Dylan. Pleasure as always doing it with you. For those at home, if you have enjoyed what you've heard, please do like and subscribe to the video. Other than that, just remember, every night's a Rangers Journal night.